I will never forget September the 11th. Rocky, Brad, Maria, Gary. The question is, where were you September the 11th? I had missed a flight to Kansas. I'll never forget it. I had missed the. Let me see. Was I on? Yeah, I missed the flight. That morning, I was supposed to be performing in Kansas City at the Funny Bone, I think, and I missed that flight. And sat there. I was watching the news, and I saw it live. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I was watching it live too.
Yeah, watching MSNBC, and then you could see the plane crash into the other building live. And I remember holding my son, Malik at the time was like 6 months old, and I was stuck. I was glued in front of the TV all day. Where were y'all? What were you doing, and how did it make you feel? What were you thinking?
Yeah, I was at home. Me and my wife, we were at home. We had only two daughters at the time, and for some reason, I didn't have nothing to do that morning. I might have been unemployed. And I was watching the, like you said, MSNBC. And I saw it happen, and I remember telling her to come here because something weird was going on. And we both sat there in front of that TV literally from 9 o'clock in the morning until probably 9 o'clock that night. We could not move from in front of that TV. It was crazy.
Yeah, I remember not understanding the severity of it. Just you see the first plane crash and you're thinking, okay, well, they're going to clean it up. They're trying to figure it out. And then you see the second plane. And like you, Ricky, I was actually pregnant at the time. And I was just thinking, oh, my gosh, what kind of world am I bringing this child into? It was really crazy to watch it all unfold live,
Yeah, I knew that it was an attack on America. When that second plane crashed, I said right then, I said, we are at war. Because, that's all I do is watch the news. Brett, Gary, what are your thoughts?
Oh, I was at the radio station. We were on the air. Me and at that time, Gary Lee was our program director, and Maria Moore was our a news person. And it was me, Gary Lee, Maria Moore. Not that Maria Moore.
Wow.
Y'all got those names.
How about that?
And we were all working in the studio, honey, and we had the TV on, and we saw when the first plane hit. And, we didn't know what it was. I sure didn't know what it was. And we just watched it. It was really shocking, and it was very interesting at the same time. But I was at work.
I was in California, and I was at a friend's house, and we were supposed to go to New York. I forgot what we were supposed to do, but we ended up changing our flight. I mean, I can't say that I was supposed to be on those particular flights, but I know we were supposed to fly to New York, and we ended up changing the day, thank God, because it would have been crazy at the airports or whatever, and it was just sad. We just sat and watched it, just glued to the TV. It just seemed unreal, like a movie. And then to see those buildings fall and those people run for their life, and there's smoke trying to get in somewhere to not get caught by the dust and the smoke and it was just unreal. I watch it to this day and be amazed still.
It just felt like America changed that day. TSA security, and I had said even before September 11th, because I was flying a lot. Because back then, I was working for BET and all that. I was like, man, this security is so lax.
Yeah.
I had said years before 1911, somebody gonna do something to one of these planes, because it was like going to the club. It was like you get wanded down to go through, and anybody could go into the terminals in the airport. And I'm like, this does not feel safe. It was light. It was super, super, super light. Going through security, I said, somebody gonna sneak something on the plane one of these days, and something is going to happen with all of this, all of this stuff going on. Here's the clip from President Barack Obama after they killed Osama bin Laden.
Shortly after taking office, I directed Leon Panetta, the director of the CIA, to make the killing or capture of bin Laden the top priority of our war against al-Qaeda. I was briefed on a possible lead to bin Laden. It was far from certain, and it took many months to run this thread to ground. And finally, last week, I determined that we had enough intelligence to take action and authorized an operation to get Osama bin Laden and bring him to justice. Today, at my direction, the United States launched a targeted operation against that compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan. After a firefight, they killed Osama bin Laden and took custody of his body.
Hey, do y'all know that President, that was a real tough decision, and President Obama, the night before, they did the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and he was up there doing jokes and doing what they do when they do the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and had a poker face the whole time, knowing that a major operation was going on. And a lot of people that was in the top, I think the Secretary of Defense at the time, they were trying to talk the president out of it, and he was getting ready to board Air Force One, and he said, we're gonna go with the plan. He said, we're gonna go with the plan. And most people, he was advised, and if I'm not mistaken, even Joe Biden, who was the VP at the time, had advised him, don't do that because it could cost him, he could pay a real political price. And he did it. And and everybody remember the famous pictures with him and the Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, at the time, Joe Biden, the Secretary of Defense, everybody sitting around the table watching that operation go down when one of the helicopters actually crashed. And then they had a plan B, and they got Osama bin Laden's body, and they got all of the intelligence out of Osama bin Laden's house, and they got everybody out of there safe, and not one life was lost. And to go in another country and do an operation like that on those helicopters, man, that was cold, man. To have the leadership of President Barack Obama, to go and get Osama bin Laden for what he did to the United States, killing all those people and tearing down the World Trade Towers in New York City. So we just want to memorialize and shout out to all the black people whose names don't get mentioned that was also killed in the buildings. You never see their pictures. You never see their faces. One of them was actually a stand-up comedian that was working upset. A little short story. I fish in Fort Lauderdale over there at Bahia Mar and go fishing. And it's a man that owned a fishing boat. I used to be like, man, that man mean. That man don't say nothing to nobody. And I've been over there for like 4 years. That man never really speak. Come to find out, after talking to a friend of mine named Captain Chris, that man did not go to work that day. He owned a company that was in the trade towers, and all his employees got killed.
Oh.
And right there, when you sit up there judging, thinking that man mean and whatever, that man had been through something. That man lost all of his employees and didn't go to work that particular day. And that was just so now I just have a whole different perspective. When I see him, I give him his space, don't bother him or whatever, but I found that out. But we just wanted to do that for y'all this morning. 9 minutes after the hour, we got Janai Thornton coming up next.